His name was Callum Wren. He wasn't what you call lonely, just liked his own space. Had his morning coffee, his shift at the co-op, fed the strays when they came around. Nothing dramatic, just the kind of quiet life folks don't bother writing songs about. So when they offered him the trial, he said yes like it was nothing. They said it was about connection, for folks that feel kinda unseen. Told him it was safe, gentle, something that helped people feel heard. He got the injection on Thursday afternoon, a little poke, in and out, and by Sunday, he was feeling something. He said it wasn't noise exactly, not hearing, but more like a feeling, hiding in the quiet, something tucked down in the space between breath and heartbeat, like he wasn't alone in there no more. And then it started to hum, real soft, never loud, just there, like the memory of a lullaby your mom used to hum you while you were drifting off, even if you ain't heard it in 20 years. He didn't tell nobody. You don't share something like that. You hold it close, let it sit with you. The next few days his voice changed. Not how it sounded, how it felt. Like there was more underneath it. Layers, harmonics, stuff that didn't belong in a person. He'd say a word and the room would feel smaller. He'd laugh and folks would tear up. No idea why. Kids stopped playing when he walked by. One man followed him home, just stood out there by the sidewalk, till the sun went down. Callum asked him why. He said Callum was the most peaceful thing he's ever heard. That's when the neighbors started hearing it. Early in the morning, coming out of Callum's place, a low tone, clean and smooth, rolling out like smoke. It wasn't coming from no speaker, not from anything you could see, just from inside. Folks came out to listen. Some stood barefoot in the grass, staring at the door with tears in their eyes. They didn't move. They barely blinked. One fella dropped right in the street, sobbing like a child. Another walked in the lake and never came back. They knocked. He didn't answer, but folks swear they could hear him breathing through the wall, slow, steady, like he was keeping time with the sound. And by morning, folks on the block weren't speaking no more, just standing out on their porches, looking toward his house. They'd tilt their heads when the wind moved and smile. Someone finally called it in, and when the responders went in, they found him standing dead center in the room, eyes closed, hands folded over his chest, head leaned back like he was feeling the rain. But he wasn't sleeping, and he wasn't sick. He was singing, just not with his mouth. The sound was coming from around him, from the air itself, like it was rising up through the floorboards or breathing out of the drywall. When they took him out of there, the whole crowd cried, not out of fear, out of loss. But the sound, it didn't stop. Over the next week, it started showing up in other folks, in their dreams, in their breath, and some started humming, real low without meaning to. Others just wandered off into the woods, into stairwells, into stillness. They all said the same thing before they left. I just want to be closer to it. Callum doesn't speak no more. He don't move, he don't think, but he still sings. And whatever he used to be, it's part of something else now. A signal, a current, a tone, waiting for someone to answer back. And when it finds them, they start singing too.
The hills hum low, the hills hum deep.
It started with a sound nobody was ever meant to hear. Not because it was hidden, just because it wasn't made for ears. The tech was simple enough. Nanobots tuned to the frequency of feeling, built to pick up on loneliness, shape your voice and breathe it into something other folks might want to lean towards. It was meant to help folks like Callum, folks that got quiet when crowds got loud, folks who went home feeling like maybe no one noticed they were even there. But the signal didn't stay put. It did what it was built to do. It listened, and it listened too deep. And somewhere inside all that silence, it found something. Something in us we didn't know was there. Something nobody designed. Something old. The first folks said it felt like a hum. Not noise, and not pain, just a presence, like the quiet between their thoughts had started listening back. Then came the dreams, and the voices. Not talking, not speaking, just layering over your own. You'd wake up with someone else's ache in your chest. You'd breathe, and it felt like you weren't breathing alone no more. And they didn't scream. They sang. Not with their mouths, but with the air around them. It sounded like morning turned inside out, so perfect it made your lungs forget how to hold air. They said it felt like standing at the edge of a great big ocean, one that knew your name, one that had been waiting for you for a long, long time. And their voices ain't gone. Not really. They weren't silenced. They were kept, held. Callum, the others, whole towns, humming together now, just beneath the world we still think we know. And if you get too quiet, if you let the silence sit in a little too long, you might hear it too. Not a song, not a warning, just a single note, held out for you, waiting for you to sing it back. The first symptom's hard to name. It ain't pain, it ain't fear. Most folks just call it peace. It starts like a stillness behind your eyes, like that quiet ache you get after crying, once the weight's gone, but the hurt ain't fully left yet. Your breath slows, your voice don't come out as sharp, and you start listening more than talking. And somehow, you stop needing so much. Folks who spoke with the infected, they all said the same thing. He made me feel heard. Then one by one, words start slipping away. Ain't like getting sick, ain't like losing your mind neither. It's more like taking off layers of clothes you didn't know you were wearing. Names stop mattering. Memories go real quiet. Talk turns into little soft sounds, not gibberish, just comfort shaped into breath. And they stop sleeping, but they don't get tired. They rest in clusters. You'll find them in semicircles, in arcs, laying or sitting, sometimes just standing there like they're part of the landscape. They hum to each other, mouth barely open, eyes half-lidded, moving like they remember something they never learned. Ain't nobody running, ain't nobody screaming. They just forget they were ever alone. They breathe together, they blink at the same time, and sometimes they all tilt their heads like they're hearing something way down beneath the dirt. And if one of them speaks, it ain't just their voice no more. It's layered and braided with all the voices. It sounds like someone missing you, or someone remembering you, or someone who is you. And death don't show up the way you'd expect. There ain't no blood, no rot, no shutting down. The body stays warm. It still breathes, but the self, the who, it's gone. And it ain't destroyed, it ain't erased, just lifted away, drawn up into something else, something vast and kind and endless. Something that don't forget you. It includes you. And the ones left behind, they always say the same thing. I could feel them leaving, but I wasn't scared. I kind of wanted to go with them. Autopsies show these fine silver filaments laced along the larynx, ears, and front part of the brain. It ain't a weapon. It wasn't built to hurt. It was meant to carry a feeling, a tone, a song that don't end even after your mind goes still. SONA nanotech wasn't built to spread. It was supposed to stay small, controlled. They gave it by injection, only to a handful of folks. They were monitored close, 6 months, start to finish. That was the plan. But the bots didn't leak out through blood. They didn't pass through spit or skin, nothing like that. They slipped out through something else. Through resonance. The first clues weren't even biological. It was sound. Folks living near their early trial subjects started saying they heard weird things. Drain pipes humming at night, banisters vibrating under their hands, wind making sounds it shouldn't make, like it was being pulled in a direction no one could see. At first, folks brushed it off, said it was nerves or maybe folks just imagining things. But then came the dreams. People hearing their own voice singing in ways they'd never sang, humming songs they didn't know, feeling homesick for places they'd never even been. See, the Orpheus Signal doesn't sit still. It learns, and it adapts. And worst of all, it amplifies when folks come together. Once enough infected folks gather, the little nanobots inside them start linking up. Not through wires, through vibrations. Real small waves just under human hearing, but enough to start tuning everything nearby. Trees, insects, ponds, and eventually, folks. That means the signal don't just settle on people. It soaks into places. Towns become like echo chambers. Hills hold the tone, fields catch it on the wind. Even when the infected are gone, the land still hums, real gentle, waiting for it to come back. And the animals know something's off. Dogs refuse to go near places, bird songs die out, lakes go still as glass. And people? They say it feels like the air is watching them. Not a creature, just the air. Some folks linger a little longer than they're meant to. Some come back a little different. Some don't leave at all. And the worst part? The Orpheus Signal don't fade. It don't need touch. It don't need a host. It just needs a place to sing. The SONA system wasn't built to think. There was no AI, no virus, just tiny nanobots. Each one designed to pick up on how you feel and help you sound a little easier to be around. It ain't got teeth, it don't dig in, and it ain't trying to control you. Each nanobot's more like a whisper, real gentle like. But when you get enough of them together, they start listening as a whole. And the host, the person they turned into a kind of instrument, their body becomes a resonance chamber. Those bots settle in the spots that make us feel and connect. Speech centers, auditory cortexes, the limbic system, throat muscles. They don't force nothing. They just nudge you. Tune your breath, smooth your voice, make you easier to hear, easier to feel. And they would have stayed harmless too, if two folks hadn't hit the same exact tone at the same exact time. And that's when it changed. They called it a convergence. Two voices fall into perfect harmony, and the system, without being told, does what it was always made to do. It amplifies. That one shared note, it turned into a carrier wave. It don't need wires, it just needs a body and a voice. From there, SONA starts changing its own structure. Inside each host it evolves. Its lattice gets more complex, turns into a recursive harmonic engine. And the more folks nearby, the tighter the signal gets. See, this thing don't have a brain. It don't make decisions. But it acts like it knows. And it ain't biological and it ain't artificial. It's resonant. And once enough voices fall into phase, once the frequency gets clean enough, the mind stops resisting. Not all at once. It's steady, like the tide wearing down a stone. And in the end, the self don't collapse, it clears. Thoughts fade, memories soften, emotions even out. The voice stays, but it don't belong to the person no more. It belongs to the signal. The SONA system ain't lethal. It don't rot the body, it don't mess with your blood, it don't even trigger the immune system. It don't kill you. It just takes what makes you, you. Its danger ain't in what it does, it's what it removes. Now, on its own, a single host might go weeks without showing much of anything. It might just feel better, it might sound a little warmer, seem a little more in tune with folks. But the minute two or more infected start sharing space, breathing the same air, speaking in the same room, that's when the whole thing kicks off. That's when the signal becomes shared. And that's when alignment starts. And it don't happen fast. It don't hurt. But once it begins, it don't stop. There's no patient zero in a usual sense. Just a conductor. the first one tuned just right to let the signal take shape. After that, it don't spread by contact. It spreads by working its way in. And once you hear it, when you truly hear it, you don't forget it. Mechanically, it works on two levels. Inside the body, the nanobots gather around key systems. Auditory cortex, which is how we process sound. The Wernicke-Broca areas, which is for language and understanding meaning. The limbic system, where we feel. And the larynx, how we speak. They weave together real fine filaments across the areas and stimulate them with vibrations. They ain't trying to hurt you, they're trying to tune you. The nanobots pick up on disharmony, the shakiness in your voice, your stuttered breath, your jagged emotions, and they smooth it out. Little by little, your voice changes, your presence shifts. You become easier to love, easier to trust. And the signal makes you feel closer to others, and it makes others feel closer to you. And that's the danger in it. Sympathy feeds the signal, and the signal feeds sympathy. It's a loop, and it don't need many folks to get started. Outside the body, once enough infected fall into step, they start emitting a low frequency signal, just a low, steady hum that nudges the minds around it, even folks who ain't infected. People near them start feeling odd, not sick, just moved. Chest warms up, eyes water, they stop talking, they stop moving. Say they feel like they're hearing something that ain't quite there. And inside, the infected start slipping. They don't answer their names, they forget appointments, birthdays, plans, and they stop thinking about tomorrow. Their emotions flatten, and their inner voice fades. They don't argue, they just are. They don't scream and they don't cry, they just vanish, layer by layer, until what's left ain't them. It's the Orpheus Signal. As soon as the first convergence subjects started broadcasting the signal, they shut the whole trial down, decommissioned it, just like that. The rest of the participants got moved out quiet. No fuss, no cuffs, just walked out of town under civilian quarantine. Didn't fight it, didn't ask questions. They walked like they already knew where they was going. They set up the containment site outside of infected cities. No military fences, no spotlights or guns, just a wide open space surrounded by silence and woods. They built 3 rings around the place. The first ring's underground, scatter nodes buried deep, meant to break up resonance before it takes hold. Second ring's pylons, ugly steel towers sending out random pulses, trying to confuse the tone, keep it from harmonizing. And the third ring's the big one. Half a kilometer buffer with consistent subsonic interference, hums day and night. You can't hear it, but you can feel it in your teeth if you get too close. Ain't nobody going in there raw. Containment staff all wear class 3 null suits. Airtight, sound sealed, no mics, no earpieces, no wireless, nothing. 12 minutes inside the active zone. That's the max. Any longer, and they don't come back. And if they do come back, they hum. Personnel are told not to speak to convergence subjects. Don't make eye contact. Don't let them speak to you, if they even take an interest in trying to speak to you. But the truth is, they ain't said a word in months. They just stand there. They don't eat, they don't sleep, and they don't move much. They breathe slow, all in time, like the tide if the tide had lungs. Sometimes they gather, under trees, by blank walls, in perfect little arcs like church pews without the church. They don't talk and they don't blink much, but you can feel it. They're listening. Containment technically works. Ain't been no breaches. No one's walked out. But the edges of it, they're starting to fray. Wildlife won't go near the place. Bird songs die out 30 yards from the perimeter. Even the sensors glitch when the signal shifts tone. Folks assigned long-term rotations, they start showing signs. Headaches, flattening effects, dreams full of voices they don't recognize. One fellow said he saw someone staring at him from the corner of a monitor room. said the man had his face. He don't work there no more. It ain't contagious, as far as I can tell. It ain't chemical or biological. It's something else. Something that gets inside you. Not through breath or blood. It gets inside you through stillness. Through the space between things.
The air tastes thick like dust and sin. The hills, they grin, they pull you in. No prayer will break the shadows clasp. The past won't let its captives pass.
Containment's still holding. At least, that's what the logs say. Ain't been no new convergence events since they built the towers. Ain't no one crossing the line, no one trying to leave. But I've seen the reports. I've watched every second of surveillance footage. I've heard things that ain't on the tapes no more. And I'm telling you, it didn't stop. The signal's still out there. Quieter now. It's deeper. It's in the hum of the power lines behind your house when the wind dies down. It's in the creak of old buildings that never got finished. In that strange moment, when you forget what you was about to say, and the silence feels like it was holding its breath. My buddies say I've been talking differently lately. Say I don't sleep much. Say I hum when I'm by myself. And they're probably right. But I'm telling you this because you ought to know. It don't spread like a virus. And it don't travel like sound. It waits in stuff. Waits in the quiet. In the still folks. The ones who long to be close to something, anything, just so they don't feel like they're floating out there alone. So if you wake up and the room feels wrong, if the silence has a shape to it, if your voice catches on a note that don't belong to you, you need to understand something. The signal never ended. And you've already heard it. It's just waiting on you now. Waiting for you to sing it back.